Hello, welcome. This is the first in a series I'm going to do on yantras. I thought I'd explain a little bit more about each one. And today I have been so inspired by the Krishna Yantra that is in my office. So I thought that was a good one to start with. So this is it. I will be showing it a little more as we go through the class in the corner, but I just wanted to show you when I've painted. Maybe you can tune in. What is your first impression? How do you feel about the colors, shapes? You can see there's a lot of blue, and then there's that vibrant yellow in the center, and the pink petals. So a lot of these yantras are very simple in their outline, their form. A lot of them have a similar form. Six-pointed star, but why is the Krishna Yantra in this form? Well, the Krishna energy is often associated with love, the beloved, the lover, the female and the male becoming intertwined, devoted, devotional, and the uplift and the sparkle that comes from that space of falling in love and being in love. And what's interesting, I've had this yantra in my office for a little while now. Someone recently asked me to make it for them. And I made it a couple of times. I really wanted to dive into the colors and hang out with it. Yantras are amazing portals for a very specific frequency of energy. Some people call yantras machines or technology for altering the body, mind, emotional chemistry. So your internal state changes as a result of either making the yantras, like I was doing with this Krishna Yantra, even having it around. You could have it as your screensaver, your wallpaper. You could have an image of it on your wall. Just having that frequency of a specific yantra is going to create a shift. So over the last year, I kept changing the yantras I had in my room, but I kept finding myself coming back to putting the Krishna Yantra out. And I've been wondering, why was I doing that? What is it specifically about these colors, the general feeling? As I said, Krishna is known to be the embodiment of love, divine love. Krishna himself is often depicted as a boy or a young man who's blue. So the spiritual energy is depicted in this blue skin and divine fulfillment. And if you've ever been to a Krishna temple, the way they worship Krishna is often through singing and dancing. It's almost like a big rave, 24-hour rave, 365 days of the year. So it's amazing. It's a form of bhakti yoga, devotional yoga to be devoted to Krishna. There's even a place in Vrindavan, famous temple, where it really is also like a rave. Like, you cannot imagine the excitement everybody has for their devotion to Krishna. But I was wondering how that was captured in a yantra, this ecstatic painting. And what's it really all about? Oftentimes we think about Radha and Krishna. So Radha is the consort, the female energy. And sometimes we just think of Radha as the love of Krishna. So Krishna's own love is Radha. So when we think of the word love, we might just say Radha Krishna. Say the two words together. So what is it all about? So I decided to think about the colors a bit more of the yantra. So sometimes we get some input, knowledge, when we think about the stories and the symbolism of a deity. So Krishna is said to have 16,000 milkmaids who he dances with. And he even had to become 16,000 Krishnas so he could dance with each one. Also, he's associated with having that one true love, which is Radha. So there's always this feeling of love and like wanting the other, wanting to be one with the other. So this feeling of yearning so that we feel happiness. So the energy is usually pretty light, And then there's another story when he was a baby. he was eating dirt. He was just playing around in the dirt. And his mother, Yashoda, was getting upset with him. And she said, just open your mouth and show me that you've been eating dirt. Because he said originally, I haven't been eating dirt. I haven't been a naughty boy. So she looks into his mouth when he opens it wide, and she sees the whole universe. So she's completely thrown into bliss and realizes her son is no ordinary son. She sees the whole universe, the galaxies and beyond, when he opens his mouth. So in the same way, I've been hanging out with this Krishna Yantra and feeling like something is going on beyond the six-pointed star and 8 petals and the gates that you see in every yantra. You know, what is going on with the color? So I thought this was a really great yantra to talk to you about complementary colors. I studied these yantras with Harish Johari, these planetary and deity yantras. And Harish Johari used to talk to us about colors. For example, there's a lot of blue in this yantra. And he would give us the feeling, what happens when you meditate on blue? And first of all, you have a relationship with blue. So there's a sweetness, there's this spiritual mood, there's the sweetness of expression through the throat chakra. Also, he would talk about what's the opposite color on the color wheel. So the opposite of blue is orange. So I'm in my opposite of blue color here, orange. And what does orange do? So orange is very uplifting. Orange is said to be the color, is one of the colors that is a great antidepressant. It's the color that gets you to be more sociable. It's the color that uplifts you. It makes you attuned to more spiritual vibrations. You know, you see all the sadhus and swamis wearing orange, right? Because they're attuning to these spiritual vibrations. So I'm starting to think about the happiness that comes from the orange and then the lightness from the blue. So there's the blue, and it's also kind of turquoisey blue. So it has a little bit of a green in it. So that also is a kind of uplifting color. Green is also associated with the heart. So we're starting to see that every color is almost in this yantra. But first of all, you're hit with the blue. Then you get that secondary feeling, the opposite color that Harish talked about so much, because you're working with the yantra, you're coloring it, you're painting it, but then you sit and maybe you close your eyes and you feel the effect of this complementary color. You might remember when you were in school or some art classes talking about color theory and the color wheel. So if you want to look for the opposite color, you actually look at it's like a pie, right? Opposite color. What's opposite blue is going to be orange. So it's like slices of the pie. So that's how you find out the opposite color. And the other color that's really dominant in this yantra, there's two, but one of the main colors you notice is the yellow. So yellow does not always sit well as the color that everyone wants to be wearing. Some people can wear yellow. Most people, it's not the easiest color to wear, okay? So it's an interesting color to look at. But what happens when we gaze at yellow, first of all, it's sunny. Second of all, if you've ever read the Mr. Men books, yellow is always the color of Mr. Happiness. Miss Happiness, Mr. Happiness. They are always yellow. So I'm also thinking about this. And the yellow and blue kind of look happy together. And then when you feel that yellow in the center of the yantra, so yellow also gives optimism. It gives more light. And then when I started to contemplate that yellow and the opposite color is actually violet. So that's a very spiritual color in terms of the chakras because it's the one right at the top. So it's really, again, lifting us up. So a lot of this conversation has been about the combination of colors that lift us up. So it can be mood enhancing, moving away from depression to feeling lighter, more joyful, more like connecting with other people. I don't know about 16,000 other people, but who knows? But this feeling of uplift and connection. And then also just a contentment. You know, there's a contentment when we realize we're not isolated, we're not lonely. We can be on our own, but we can also feel the oneness of the universe. Whew. So that is a lighter feeling. And then the last thing I was thinking of sharing with you is about the 8 petals. So why 8 petals? A lot of yantras have 8 petals. It's usually to do with how our elemental makeup is going from our gross nature. Here we are, dense beings. Understanding that elemental makeup, which is the 5 elements, earth, water, fire, air, ether. And then the 3, 5 and 3 make 8. The 3 are also to do with like the grossness or the levels of our being. So one level will be the physical. One level will be the subtle. Subtle is like the energy of the chakras, energy body. And then you have the causal. Causal is the most subtle. So these are the layers of our being as we come into substance. So we have to know those, and then we can go beyond them into the really subtle quality, which is at the center of the yantra. And because the petals are pink, we already think, oh, the heart is a nice pink, you know, it's leading us to the heart center. Then when we meditate on the pink color, we see the opposite color, which is green. Green is the heart chakra. So here we are discussing the colors that bring uplift and bring us into our heart center. And Krishna is known as the energy of love. So it might be relational love, you know, like Radha and Krishna. But I think it's this feeling of feeling love, feeling happiness, feeling these as states of being rather than being dependent on something, someone else that is transient. So I've really been liking having this Krishna Yantra in my office as a bit of a uplifting energy. I don't know where in the world you are as you're watching this, but right now we're in England and the season is getting a little dark. It's December. So what happens in December? Less daylight. December, January, February, everyone's getting the blues. They might need to have this pick-me-up, this feeling of a little more light, this feeling of lightness. You could have a full spectrum lamp, or you could have a Krishna Yantra. And when you ignite this Krishna Yantra, so it's going to definitely cure S.A.D. Nobody's going to be sad when they have this around or they meditate on this form. And what happens is we really like to focus on the center of a yantra. So the center of the yantra is actually the bindu. So you can see the bindu, the dot right in the middle. That's where Krishna is actually living, residing. The rest is almost the atmosphere around Krishna. So maybe Krishna or Radha are at one in the bindu. Maybe that's the place, the source of your happiness. I always encourage people to dive in themselves. Start coloring, start drawing. You know, you can find images. You can order a print. If you'd like a picture of this, you can order a print or a painting. But there's so many ways to have these in your home. And the way to really ignite the yantra is to start to connect with a mantra. So the mantra that might be really nice to chant will be Kleem. 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 Kleem is the bija mantra for Krishna. And just saying it creates this expansive space at the heart. It's a heart-centered mantra. There are longer Krishna mantras, and if you know a longer Krishna mantra that you like and you're familiar with, you can use that with this yantra, because the Krishna sounds will bring this yantra to life. And the effect will be really powerful if it's a mantra that you're used to chanting. So for example, if you're used to chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, go ahead, do that with this yantra. There are a few different Krishna mantras that are just so nice. So that's my suggestion. See if you can get hold of this yantra. If not, you're welcome to send me a message. I'll also send you a free outline. So I can email you an outline and then you can start to color, because now you have the colors. You're also welcome to order a print or a painting, but I want to make it easy for you. So somehow get hold of this yantra, and then for at least 40 days, clean. If you can do that 108 times while gazing at the center of the yantra, you're really going to be taking that uplifting energy in, and you will be feeling lighter and happier and more positive and more optimistic as a result. I'll be really curious to see how you get on. It's always nice to have feedback, and I hope to see you soon.